Today I want to talk about sensory overload or sensory processing. This affects so many families. Whether you have a child who can't wear turtlenecks or who gets overstimulated when they go to the mall, then you know what I'm talking about. Now, sensory processing refers to the way that our nervous system receives input from our senses and then turns that input into the correct behavioral responses. Now, some kids may experience multiple extreme sensitivities or underreactions to touch, movement, sight, sounds. They can be distractible. They can have lots of anxieties that cause other social and emotional challenges. They may have unusually high or unusually low energy levels, or they may be clumsy and seem careless. And of course, the impulsivity or that lack of self-control is one of those symptoms that can be really, really difficult as well as misunderstood. Now, the causes of sensory issues are likely the result of factors that are both environmental and genetic, but I'm not trying to understand the causes as much as I'm wanting to respond to what is happening right now, what we can do with how it is affecting our kids. The fact is that some things are painful for kids. So how can we equip kids to adapt to uncomfortable or distressing environments? These 4 strategies will make sensory processing or integration disorders less painful for your child. First, accept that sensitivity is real. Fine-tuning the nervous system can be really challenging for kids who are sensitive, and it can take longer developmentally. It isn't that your child doesn't want to play or swing or be quiet or sit still or pay attention. He is just likely very distracted by other input. But these invisible challenges are often unfairly attributed to things like bad behavior and needing more discipline. But if behavior is communication, then there is no bad communication. There might be communication overload or communication breakdowns, but we can work with those. Next, provide tools for coping. Those behaviors that you may perceive as defiant or disrespectful are really a measure of how well the sensory sensitive child is coping with the environmental input. Kids will get into a pattern of dysfunctional behaviors if their true needs are not addressed. So if you need to go to the mall or a crowded place, you can bring headphones or earplugs for the child who is sensitive to sound. Dampening that background noise will help your child follow your directions, not wander off, and actually pay attention. Next, make adjustments for growth. Now, this does not mean that you bend over backwards to meet every desire of your child, but that you give your child the space and the time to finding new ways to being comfortable with their particular sensitivity. Tags, pants, stockings, socks that were too big, brushing her hair, you name it, and my daughter complained about it. But I learned to recognize that her particular needs and strategies for soothing, well, they're a bit different than what I thought was going to work. And the more that I allowed her to dress comfortably and not worry about brushing the hair or fancy hairdos, the more she was able to grow into learning to manage her sensitivities. Your kids may not grow out of every sensitivity, but they will get better at managing them when we are flexible and responsive to their needs. Next, provide sensory exercises. If you have a sensitivity that impacts your relationships or your functioning, then you want to find that balance between input and integration. And you can do this by giving your child lots and lots of sensory experiences. My child has a very strong need for deep pressure and physical activity, so she benefits from things like massage and swimming and using everyday toys like Play-Doh or clay. These activities provide her with that stimulation that she needs to manage her body in her space and also reduce the anxiety that she feels. You can make time for water play or swinging at the park, bouncing and crashing into pillows, or even spinning, which often provides a lot of relief to the sensory sensitive child. Being labeled clumsy, picky, uncooperative, spacey, rigid, out of control, or too sensitive, that can lead to things like aggression, anxiety, depression, poor social skills, and then kids who live up to those labels and expectations that we have for them. Using these strategies will reduce the likelihood that you will demand, judge, or label your kids out of frustration. The names that we use to label our kids, those become the thoughts that they think about themselves. So let's consciously choose our responses. Okay, that was my teachable moment for you. So what did you think? Do you have a sensory sensitive child? Do you have any tips for helping children cope? I would love to hear your stories and ideas, so be sure to leave me a comment below, because you never know when your ideas might just help someone else towards making the changes that they were looking for. And did you like this video? Because I would be so thrilled if you would share it with a friend or someone you love or on your favorite social media site. Because when you share the love spreads. And while you're at it, be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel because I add new videos all the time. And if you really want to start making changes in your home, get on over to teachthroughlove.com and sign up for updates because I hold free classes all the time just for you. Thank you so much for watching, for sharing, and for liking these videos. Until next time, please remember, it's about consciousness, not perfection.